From Dr. Brian's nitric oxide, to Jennifer's creating new habits, to JC telling us all about CBD, we really packed a punch today. And that's what we aim to do here on Disruptive Health. There are so many things happening in the world of healthcare, and we want to make sure that you know about them. And most importantly, that you know what they mean for you. Because what we know is that all healthcare is local and all healthcare is personalized. So we aim to bring you the cutting edge technology, but also tactics for importing that into your very own life. We look forward to seeing you again here next time on Disruptive Health. And until then, I'm Dr. Brown. Take care.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.
Welcome to On Purpose with Paul. I am Paul Peters, your amazing host, entrepreneur, business owner, founder of the nonprofit, and best-selling author. I'm here today to talk to you about how to find your purpose. My name is Paul Peters. I'm a proud father of the 3 kids. I always want to put that as a priority for me. I have a company called Covenant Case Management Services in North Carolina, where I primarily work with folks with intellectual disability, mental health, substance abuse. We are looking to expand outside of North Carolina this year. Also have a nonprofit based in North Carolina called the Nehemiah Project. We basically work with individuals that are struggling with addiction, homelessness, seniors, veterans, homeless, and at-risk kids, domestic violence victims, and those with mental health, intellectual disabilities. I want to take my message about what I have discovered helping people find their purpose, and I want to take it worldwide, because I believe if people find their purpose, they're going to find their joy, they're going to find the reason for their existence and how they connect to this world. Yes, I'm Paul Peters, and you are on Purpose with Paul. I'm here to talk with my dear friend, Paula Boland. And I want to tell you a little bit about Paula. Not only is she an award-winning motivational speaker, she's an author, she is a business owner and a master business mindset coach. She is known as the $1 Million Maker, but I just call her Paula B. So, Paula, thank you for coming today to the show.
Thank you for having me.
The show is all about how to discover your purpose. And so I'm just going to ask you some questions. And not a lot of people, when we think about purpose, what that means to them. So what does purpose, finding your purpose or discovering your purpose mean to you?
Wow, that's been a journey for me, for sure. I have come to believe that all of us made an agreement with God before we were born to do a specific, it was a mission, kind of a mission that we're on. And then the joke of it all is, as we were born, we forgot that. We forgot the mission. And so we feel this calling, this pull, this something that is you're looking for, that is actually that purpose that's calling your soul, right?
Gotcha.
And then, you know, somehow if you continue, not everybody does it, but you know, a percentage of people that follow the call find that mission. And when you find that mission, that God-given mission, it just all clicks together, right? It's like, I've seen your book where there's pieces of the puzzle, right? It all fits together.
I love that.
And so then it becomes easier, right? But for me, it was quite a journey to get on purpose and on mission. So for me, the definition of purpose is your God-given calling and your mission.
I love that. I love that. So tell me, and take us through a little bit, and I'm actually going to start, first of all, let you guys know. I've known Paula for over 20 years. We're both somewhere around 30. And so we actually met. She was a consultant. I was working for a company in North Carolina. And we got reintroduced probably about 6 years ago? 7 years ago. And basically ran into her. We were having coffee together and was asking her what she was doing. And we kind of got together, and I said, she was saying basically she was doing some mentoring, mastermind coaching. And I thought, you know, I really think I'd like to try that. And so we started meeting on a weekly basis, and she began to challenge me. And she, what is it you really want? What are your dreams? And I've always been a dreamer. I've just never really, in a lot of ways, acted on those dreams. I just had all these dreams. I was a visionary and wanted to do all these things. And And she really challenged me to go to the next level. And we were talking about me maybe writing a book and writing a book on how to discover your purpose, because I had taught a course on that. And lo and behold, I went ahead and I camped out at a beach house for the summer, and I wrote my book. And it's now been out for about 3-4 years. She also challenged me because I love to travel, but I wasn't doing that, and I had limited time with my kids, and she said, well, go do it. And so I did. Me and my kids went to Rome, and we went to Greece, and so she was one of the first mastermind coaches that really challenged me to go to the next level. And here I am, because of her efforts, because of her encouragement, because of her support. I'm now a best-selling author. I have my own TV show, and so sky's the limit. And so I'm just so excited to have her be my first guest. And so walk us through some of the journey, because I have a belief that in order to find your purpose, God is not going to make it easy for you. Because it's like, if you seek me, you will find me, he says. And it's like, he wants to see us put forth the effort, because what we will find is going to be gold and silver, and not in regards to the real gold and silver, but the nuggets, the very thing he puts within us, that little secret of what we're called to do. And that is pretty powerful, because I liken it to dynamite. It's like, once we discover what that is,
Yes.
it is our calling, it is our destiny.
Yes.
And we have to follow that.
Yes.
And so for me, it's like, we make these choices in life and we struggle. And it's in the struggle that we begin to find the answers.
Yes.
So kind of walk us through some of your journey.
My journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of briefly, I grew up a kid with not many resources, and not in the best home situation.
Gotcha.
And so growing up was a situation of not feeling secure, not feeling like I trusted myself, and those kind of things. And I heard my whole life that get your education, get your education. If you get your education, everything will be okay. So that was my whole view of the world, is let me get my education. Went on to college, had a couple of master's degrees after that, and found myself with a whole lot of education. But I found myself in my 40s, what I call broken. I was more than $500,000 in debt. I was in a really bad marriage. Not that either one of us are bad people. We just didn't fit together well. I couldn't even feed my young son. I was, and I was kind of like, I don't want to say pretending, but I had 3 jobs I was working who were very nice, high paid, like, you know, in the community, looking good jobs.
Yes.
But here I was, broke and broken. And there wasn't a day in my life where I didn't call myself a loser or whatever. So how are you going to like build to your potential in that kind of a mindset? And the day that I went to the refrigerator, and there was literally 1 piece of bacon in our refrigerator, and I decided I would eat like just an inch of it so my son could eat. I decided that at that time, that from the perspective I was living in, that I would go out and plan my suicide. And I went on a walk to do that, and the intention is that I would do this so it didn't harm my son, so it didn't harm, you know, his psyche and all that stuff. Well, looking back on it now, we all know that would never work, right? Well, while I was out walking, I literally encountered a miracle. And I was miserable, devastated, and I want to say this about miracles, and we expect like lightning bolts and all those kind of things. Well, for me, miracles come in small packages, and we just need to be aware of it, right? All the opportunities and all that. I encountered a flower during my walk, and I was miserable. I was like, you know, how do I die? I want to die. And a voice said to me, not like a verbal voice, but in my heart, when I encountered the flower, and the flower was dying and alive at the same time. So it had brown leaves, but it was like very vivid. It was a rose, and it was a very vivid color. And this voice said to me, that's you. You can be alive or you can be dead. What are you going to do? Wow. And I stopped. It was like the Control-Alt-Delete, right? And I stopped for a moment, and I said, okay, I want to be alive. And I laugh about this now. I said, okay, God, I'm going to be alive, but I'm giving it 90 days. I was like, okay, God, give me 90 days, right?
Yeah.
And I was broken, everything like that. And I walked home to, not away from that flower, but walked home on my phone, finding anything and anyone, because I had absolutely no idea what happiness meant. None. And I started just Googling, like YouTubing and everything like that, listening to that. And there's a few mentors that I found in that process. I have to say, Bob Proctor saved my life. And so from that day forward, I became like really obsessed with the idea of abundance and the idea of, what am I supposed to be doing with my life and all of that. And just really focused on being joyful. And I know that's a big focus of yours too. And what does that mean? And within literally months, I had more money than I ever had in my life. And I was still working 3 jobs, and actually I figured out that I was really tired and overwhelmed, and I decided to quit one of those jobs. And I'll just tell you honestly that my family had a drama moment. It's like, you can't even feed your son, you're going to quit a job. I did. I trusted my gut, I trusted God, and I had more and more and more money. And that continued on. I left the marriage, went on a journey as a single mom. And now, everything has changed in terms of financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically. But what happened was that moment for me where I listened, right? I listened to my heart. And ever since then, I've been on a journey to find my abundance, my joy, and to find it in a spiritual way, not just so much it's all about money or whatever. But ever since then, it's been my calling. And now I have the pleasure of working with entrepreneurs to help them really honestly look at what does abundance mean to them, like you, like what we did. And then not only that, but to take them into what is the identity of that person. Because we can seek something from where we are, but when we really do it, when we really live it, whether doesn't matter what the circumstances are, right? We can go to it or we can live from it. And so that's what you did. I mean, you started visioning, which you had done for years, but then we worked together and it became your identity, right? And that has changed everything. And that is what I learned my purpose is to help people understand that there is abundance, there is God's abundance all the time. It's just what are we doing to allow it and to materialize it, and the identity piece does that.
Yeah, that's amazing. We will be right back after these messages.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Have you ever had to hire multiple contractors? It is a daunting task that takes a lot of management time and impacts the core business or the company that time you spend with your loved ones. At Texas Home Property Solutions, you can count on a responsible company that can tackle all your general contractor needs. Electricity, painting, remodeling, plumbing, air conditioning, and roofing. Hire us and forget it. With over 20 years of experience, Texas Home Property Solution will deliver your project on time and within budget, with the high level of quality and integrity, no matter the size or complexity. If you are a company, a government institution, or an individual who needs a general contractor, you need Texas Home Property Solution. Take a decisive step and call us today for a free consultation.
A couple things that stood out from what you told me is, because I have gone through very similar situations where I had gotten hopeless,
Yes.
and I had hit a moment of despair, and I had contemplated suicide.
Yes.
And I had a similar miracle, not so much with the power, but I was basically heard a voice and basically said, don't do this. I've got plans for you. And I think about in Jeremiah 29:11, it says, God says, I have plans for you, for your future.
I love that verse.
That you would prosper. And when we understand, and your life, from what I have seen, what I've heard is God had planned for you.
Yes.
And he got your attention.
Yes.
And so, but what was the link? Because you're working, it's almost like the animal dribble, whatever.
Right,
on the wheel.
right.
And it's like, and you just kept spinning, and it's like, and it wasn't getting any better.
Right.
And so, what was the turning point when you basically chose, I'm choosing life? How did you connect the desire for abundance? I want you to explain what that means to you, and then the connection with purpose, because you said you had some mentors in it. So, kind of piece that together, because you went from a moment of despair, contemplated suicide, and God gave you a glimmer of hope. And then you took that hope and walked in faith in the direction, and here you are now. Just absolutely amazing what you're doing and the impact you're having on people's lives. So,
Thank you.
kind of, I know I asked a bunch of questions, but kind of share a little bit.
Yeah, it's great
about-
questions.
Yeah.
I might need a minute.
Because I think it's important that people realize that we've all gone through struggles.
Absolutely.
And-
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
And it's in those struggles that we get to the end of ourselves,
Yes.
because we've tried this, we've tried that, and that's when a lot of people will begin to ask those deeper questions of a spiritual nature.
Absolutely.
And that's what Paula did, and that's what I did. And we're sharing this very important information because many of you are going through that right now, and we want to give you a sense of hope that there is opportunity, and God wants to help you understand what your calling and your destiny is. Because in that calling, in that destiny, is the very thing that Paula was seeking for,
Yes.
I was seeking for. And that's the joy, that's the peace.
Yes.
And so kind of go take
Yeah.
us from that moment where you chose life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think there was always something like in me, like it felt like something was off, right? Like there was always something that felt like a void, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And so I was looking at my external circumstances of I'm broke, I don't have the food to feed my son and all of that stuff. And I thought that was what the problem was, right? And that's why I was working 3 jobs, trying to have the money, all of that stuff. And I think that's a very common experience, that we get so involved in what's happening externally that we don't, you know, put together the internal. I mean, everything is that in our life is a reflection of who we are inside, right?
Love that.
So during that walk, I think I was so broken that it was just an opening for God to really be present, for the spiritual present, for that void that I had been trying to fix, trying to find, trying externally. I just like laid that down for a moment or two. Thank God that I did, right? and during that time, it opened up a connection that was always there. It was always there.
Yeah.
It was just that I was covering it up, feeling the external, looking externally. Why am I not more of a success? Why don't I have more money? I have all these, you know, master's degrees and blah, blah, blah. I look this way to the world. And if I really like literally go honest about this, I had to be broken down to that, because I was very connected to, look, I got this education, look at me, you know, and that's gonna solve everything. The more money I get is gonna solve everything. Yeah. And so I had to have that breakdown so that I could really be present with who I really am and who God's presence in that moment, right? Yeah. And so it's hard to describe that, like, you know, so, but that, I think you understand, you've walked that journey. And anybody who's on here right now, who's like living their mission or looking for their mission, understands that void, that calling, that, you know, and many times what we're doing in that void is we're really desperately trying to fill it. And so we become, instead of creators, we become consumers. And we consume YouTube, we consume TikTok, we consume, right? Yeah. And really, God is a creator and has called us to be creators, the hands and the feet. We have to do something, right? Yeah. Yeah. And so when we switch that role from consuming, give it to me, let me have it, to who am I? Who are you, God? And get in that relationship, that's when abundance comes. That's when the, you know, heavens open, if you want to say it that way. And really, it happens not just spiritually, but it does happen financially, emotionally. I mean, it's all of it, right? Yeah. So there's a long version of an answer. I'm kind of thinking out loud while I speak to you, but it was enough of a breakdown where I let go of those external forces, those external seeking, the consumer seeking. And I was long enough open to the spirit, my own spirit, and how it relates to my calling with God.
I mean, interesting. I thought the story when you were talking, it's actually a story out of the Bible of Martha and Mary, and Jesus was present. And it was interesting because Martha was the busy one.
Yes.
Martha was doing this and doing that.
Yes.
And Mary was the one that just sat at Jesus' feet. And it almost appears that you were busy.
Oh, yes.
Trying to perform.
Yes.
And, you know, God is standing there and just saying, okay, when are you going to sit at my feet so I can tell you what? Yes. And I think what happened to you and what happened to me and many of us is God is trying to get us to a point that we are honest and real with Him.
Absolutely. And ourselves.
And ourselves. And we too often try to impress so many people. I've jokingly told you I'm a reformed people pleaser, you know, because of my upbringing. I just wanted people to like me, and I wanted to be able to be recognized that I accomplished something or that I could be loved. And we get so busy, God is already telling us you already are loved.
Yes.
And I have so much to reveal about you that I need you to believe, because it's in the belief is the revelation of what He's going to reveal in our calling. And so as that kind of became where you kind of got real with God, and He just basically, so kind of walk us through what happened and then the time frame, because for me, my journey was long. Because I was stubborn and I wasn't ready, even though I was broken, you know. So kind of walk us through the journey of when you were in your mid-40s, and then I mean, I've seen you in the last 20 years. You've always been amazingly successful in my eyes, But it's like, for you, that was the turning point when that happened.
Yes.
But you have continued to progress,
Yes.
continued to grow,
Yes.
continued to help so many people. So kind of share that continued journey.
Yeah. Well, I want everyone to know, and you to disclose, that it's not been a straight line.
Yeah,
it's been like, this, right? So, so initially there was just such a difference from being so depressed and not even understanding what happiness is, and then hearing this. God was like putting these little beautiful nuggets that already exist. I just finally allowed, right?
Yeah.
I was in the receiving mode, as they would say. And so it was so amazing at first, like to stay. I tell almost everyone that I coach, a primary method for connecting to yourself, to your real self, and to your abundance is to get into a beautiful state. Yeah. And a beautiful state, it doesn't matter what's happening with your bank account. It doesn't, we want to get connected to that and be like, well, you don't understand, I'm, blah, blah, blah. Well, honey, I was $500,000 in debt. I couldn't even pay attention. So, and I wasn't paying attention. So, when you get into that beautiful state, you feel like it's all to my good. It's all God is here. You feel the connection, and you feel peaceful and you feel joyful, right? And so at first it was easy for me to get there because I had never felt that before. And the first little inkling of it, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. Let me find this again, right? And I've realized with every single client, from CEOs that I'm helping to make multi-millions of dollars to somebody who's not, whatever the idea is starting their business or whatever they're doing. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and is that God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, gives you the opportunity to have that abundance, to feel that abundance, thinking you could do it again. Here's the surprise, do it again. Here's the surprise, do it again. Yeah. Not everybody grabs onto it, right? But when you grab onto that feeling, that beautiful state, and then you receive a surprise because of it. There's always universal surprises, right? The miracles or whatever you want to call it. And the next surprise and the next good feeling, you want to do it again. And so God gives you that gift, that's abundance. And so I got in that, and as much as I could, I remember just walking my neighborhood. I would go down, and then I'd go out for a walk. I'd go look for that flower, right? And I would just get back into a beautiful state, And from that perspective, things just started happening, like just amazing things in the physical, 3D world of what was happening with my bank account, as well as my heart, right? And what happened is, in 4 months' time, I, like I said, had more money than I was like, I got money in the bank. Like, I got food in the fridge, right? Yeah. So, and I want to say that I don't think you have to get to where I was to be able to, receive and have abundance. And that's why I'm doing my mission, because I don't want people to have to do that to go there. Right? So it's not a call for people, but you can be a CEO of a large corporation. And I really coach a lot of people that are in this situation that have worked, we're busy. And then it's like something's missing. I'm successful as everybody sees. I have the money, but I'm not, there's something missing, right? And that can be an opportunity too for, a really great purpose, right?
Yeah. We will be right back after these messages.
How would you like to go on a 5-star vacation for just $99? We're talking about the quality of a Westgate resort for $99. Not for one night, but for 3 fantastic nights at one of their luxurious destinations across the United States. And you'll even get a free $100 Visa gift card just for making a reservation. We've got some of the choicest destinations that you'll love in the United States that you can choose from for just $99 for a 3-night stay. Take your family, take a special loved one, but get away. Go on vacation with Westgate Resorts. Call now to make a reservation for just $99, and you get a free $100 Visa gift card. Call Westgate right now and book your vacation. Here's the number.
Call 877-930-3491. That's 877-930-3491. Again, 877-930-3491.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks can be a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen, portable oxygen therapy that moves with you.
With my Inogen, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here and there's my oxygen.
Inogen systems are so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen portable oxygen system for 30 days risk-free. Call us right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 800-367-1753. That's 800-367-1753.
Anyway, so I think I stayed in this beautiful state as I review it, and now I stay. I go back there as much as I can. I'm usually living in it, but I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I still, and then things started to, be different because I had a different perspective, I had a different heart, I had a different, movement. I became a different person, a different identity, right? I wasn't this broken woman, right? I was now becoming. And I don't think we ever arrive. Our journey is forever with God, right? But I am always seeking to become, right? What is the next thing? How do I expand? And you are too. I see it all the time. Yeah. But that's my identity, right? Yeah. And I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't know I was doing this. It just started to happen. And so after a few months, I was just feeling good and things were happening well. And I was like, you know what? I've always been good at helping people start businesses, and that was kind of what I did, and strategy and all that. Let me become a coach. And so I found a coach. I didn't really have the money. I borrowed the money from my sister, and so then those decisions started to happen, right? And then the people that I was coaching were having so much success. And part of it was strategy, like business strategy, which I'm really good at.
Yeah.
I use business strategy as well as the spiritual and the abundance component, and that really fits great. That's the puzzle, right? But for a long time, I sat in strategy only. And I built a I was near a $500,000 business, coaching business, but again got into the something's missing. And I actually went to a place that you and I go. I went to Guatemala, and I was ready to quit. I was like, what else do I need to be doing? I'm going to burn this down. And it became, again, you and I probably too have some spiritual connection that we seek on purpose, right? And the voice, the intuitive voice said to me, don't burn it down, add me in. Add me in.
Love that. Yeah.
And I wasn't. I mean, I would have been able to talk to you about it, but I wasn't like talking about God with people. Wasn't talking about their spirituality, their identity in their spiritual sense. And when I added that in, everything changed. Everything changed. And I think you've experienced that as well.
I have. Yeah, it's interesting, and I appreciate what you shared. Not everybody has to go through the same journey that we did in regards to contemplating at the end of our life. But there's the missing element that Paula shared. And for me, it's the spiritual element. There's something within us that I believe that God puts within us, and it's like a seed.
Yes.
And He, at the time that it is ready to come out, God's going to give us that message. And it's interesting because you said also about identity. And I remember something that you said when you were going through that tough time. I think did you say that you said, I'm a loser?
I used to say it every day.
Yeah.
There wasn't a day that went by.
Yeah.
And every once in a while that comes up in my my soul now, right? It's like, what? Where did that go? What?
Exactly. And the reason that is so important, because the very things that we say to ourselves, we reinforce a belief system or an identity that we begin to live out.
Absolutely.
And there's a verse that comes to mind is, as a man thinketh in his heart, so will he be, or so shall he be. And it's like we have, the way that we're created is we think, and the thinking creates emotions. And often when we think negatively, like I'm a loser, I can't amount to anything, I'm not loved, we begin to feel those negative emotions, which is, if anybody's ever heard of the term law of attraction, it works both ways. And it's interesting when you began to change your thinking and started to focus more on things that were of what would be positive, higher energy, what happened? You saw...
Oh, yes, right in front of me. It
Yeah.
happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, master manifestors, right? I mean,
Exactly.
one of my friends recently was on the beach with me, and she looked at me and she goes, Paula, will you teach me? And I was like, well, I love to teach. I'll teach you anything. What do you want to know? And she said, I want to be a manifesting mofo like you.
Love that.
And so I had to think for a minute, and I actually came up with a program teaching people how to jump in and use the same thing about beliefs, and our thoughts become behaviors. Right. Which become habits, right? And so when you on purpose go to the end of what you want, right? And our end keeps changing, but the end of what you want, like right now, I just moved to my beach house that I thought I was going to lose for years and years and years. And one of the things I used to do in that house is I would stand in the house because I was so sad that I had this, my mother had worked out a deal with me that I could have this house as she retired, and I was so sad that I was going to lose it. It was like, I love the beach, I love being here, this is my tree house, right? And I would stand there, and because I didn't want to feel sad about it, the only thing I knew what to do is to say, if I could, what would I do with this house? And I would imagine like what I'd do with the kitchen, what I would do, blah, blah, blah. And I found myself in that house just a couple of years ago. The kitchen's exactly what I imagined. The landscaping's becoming what I imagined. And it's so interesting how what you put in your mind, it is actually, God is there waiting to bless you with that. And so what you're putting in your mind is what is being created, right? We're the co-creators. Right. And it's not only just like, in an ethereal way, it's in a physical way. The hands and feet, our behaviors, our thoughts, they become habits. And the beautiful thing about it is every decision, every belief that we have, it doesn't have to be like uncovered in an ashram and therapy and years. We choose our beliefs every single second. Yes. Every single second. Now, I didn't know this when I was first on my journey around the block, but with the flower, but I know it now, but that is something that happened with me is I chose a new belief, instead of death, I choose life, right? And you can do that every moment. You don't have to wait to clear it out or figure it out or all that stuff, or get the money first. That's the worst decision. Waiting.
Yeah. And I love what you said also about living in a beautiful state. And it's interesting, this is kind of an epiphany for me I've had the last year, is so many of us, we allow our circumstances to dictate how we're going to feel, rather than deciding how we're going to feel, and whatever circumstances come, they're going to be. Those are things that most of the times are outside of our control. But if we choose to live in that beautiful state, and that really is choosing to be joyful, to live in peace, to be kind, compassionate, loving. When we choose to live in that beautiful state, regardless of the circumstance, regardless of the storm, and for me, there's a perfect picture of the disciples were in the boat and the storm is raging and Jesus is sleeping peacefully. And I'm thinking, that's cool. I would kind of like to have that state, and that is possible. And like Paula said, it's not something that happens overnight. It is something that we train ourselves, because I'm one of those individuals that believes that 90 to 95% of our choices we make are unconscious, which means they're in some kind of file system in our brain of habits we've done. That in order to change, to transform our lives, we've got to bring them up to the conscious level, and we've got to take control of those thoughts.
You got to face it.
Yeah, exactly. And so it helped us understand a little bit more, because once you understood and got a hold of that beautiful state, and I liken it to what I would call a broken pipe. There's no alignment, so there's no flow.
I laid new pipes.
Correct. And so when you got into that beautiful state, it almost appears that you were in alignment with God's creation of what He created you to be.
Yes.
And then the very thing that you were desiring, the abundance, flowed.
Yes. And that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So that's kind of a formula for how this works, right? This is how I work with people. And by the way, I've had mentors in my life to help me along. You've had mentors in your life to help you along. And if you're feeling the void, if somebody's like, tuning in right now, highly likely, you're feeling the void and you're figuring out, like, am I a consumer or am I a creator, and all that, or I want to be in this beautiful state. What does this mean? Find a mentor, check out somebody that can help you, so spend the next 20 years, in a spin, right? Because what's going on, and I'm going to answer your question, but what's going on in our world is that we receive so many messages every single day from our society and all of that, that are circumstantial, that we, only a percentage of people really get to their mission, get to this in a fulfilling way, and having a mentor can really, really help, right? So what was the question? You remember? I can't remember the question exactly, but it was moving from the beautiful state and how that brought in abundance. So the formula is the beautiful state, right? So that, for me, this is mine, and everybody does have their own, journey, but generally, I think you could agree this is the formula.
Yeah.
So realize that there's a void, right? And there's something off, and that you're looking for something. That is your calling. That is your calling for you to remember the mission you agreed to before you were born. And then, because the game of life, it's a game, it's kind of funny that you forgot it as you were born, right? And so you spend the rest of your life trying to connect with God and get this, right? And you and God are like, your soul's like, let's do this, right? And so then you feel that offness, you feel that void, you recognize it, and then you go to, instead of looking at what's wrong and what's broken, which I think is our number one problem in our culture. What am I doing wrong? I don't trust myself, blah, blah, blah. If I could just get this right, it would be better. That is actually taking you down. That's shipwreck. Right? So if you could instead say, I'm going to choose to know that I don't even know if I totally believe this, but at least I see other people in abundance. I see other people doing okay. That's what I did. And then I don't know if I can get this belief. I don't know what all that is, but I'm going to know that other people got it. And let me see. So get yourself into that, get into a beautiful state, and then you can start from that beautiful state imagining what it is you really want, your definition of success. What is your clarity of success?
We will be right back after these messages.
How How would you like to go on a 5-star vacation for just $99? We're talking about the quality of a Westgate resort for $99. Not for one night, but for 3 fantastic nights at one of their luxurious destinations across the United States. And you'll even get a free $100 Visa gift card just for making a reservation. We've got some of the choicest destinations that you'll love in the United States that you can choose from for just $99 for a 3-night stay. Take your family, take a special loved one, but get away. Go on vacation with Westgate Resorts. Call now to make a reservation for just $99 and you get a free $100 Visa gift card. Call Westgate right now and book your vacation. Here's the number.
Call 877-930-3491. That's 877-930-3491. Again, 877-930-3491.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
And one of the powerful things that's worked for me, and Paula, I'm fairly certain would agree, is you've got to change your identity. Because when you look at where you're at, and a lot of times it's our feelings, we just don't feel happy. There's something missing, a disconnect. And so when we recognize, I want to change that, and you get to a point where you're through. You say, I'm done. I don't want to feel the same way. I don't want to be in debt, whatever it is.
Yes.
And so you get to that point, and then you make a resolution, an intention that a decision. And you act on that decision. You don't have all the answers. And just same thing with...
Such a good point.
Yeah, with, discovering your purpose. It's not like God's going to give you everything you need.
Write it across the sky.
Yeah, it says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, lean not unto thine own understanding, all thy ways acknowledge me, and I will direct your steps.
Absolutely.
It's like there's that element of faith and belief. And when we recognize that I don't have all the answers, but I'm going in this direction because, one, I just feel like this is where I'm supposed to go. And we go. And it's interesting, as you did that, you changed your state, things began to show up. People began to show up.
You showed up.
Yeah. and that's how it works. And so when we begin to change and reflect on the things that we want, and we begin, I call it living in the future. It's almost like you recognize, this is what I want. Let's say if your goal is money, I want to have $1 million in the bank. Well, you have to begin to live as if that's happening now.
Right.
And because what you're doing, the way that God's created our mind is the subconscious will connect to what you believe.
Absolutely.
Because literally what we do every day is based on our subconscious belief systems.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, those are screwed up.
Many times, yeah.
And we've got to reprogram our brain to believe that God wants to bless us.
Absolutely.
And He wants to give us. He said He desires to prosper
Absolutely.
us. Because, and I'm not necessarily talking about the toys, those are nice. It's really the other element. I want to kind of dig deeper into this piece, because for me, you can get out of debt, you can get out of the toys, but you can still have that missing element.
Oh yeah, I mean, you see people that are very successful
Mhm.
with that, and they're,
Yes.
I mean, they commit suicide. You see,
Correct.
you see people that are very, very successful that, unfortunately, end their journey,
Mhm.
because that void is still calling them, and they don't know how to fill it up. They've been filling it up, being busy and getting stuff. Right?
Correct. And so, take us to the next
Mhm.
part of your life that this really stuck out for me, is more where you kind of got more in tune to the spiritual element.
Yes.
Because it sounds like you got some of the debts paid off, you got a lot of money in the bank, but still something was missing.
Oh yeah.
So if you could kind of help the people who are watching,
Yeah.
because there may be people who are got a great job, got a great family, but there's something missing, and
Right.
it's like, where do I find that missing element? So if you
Yeah.
can kind of share your story. Yeah.
You share yours first.
I did.
Oh, let's see. And I'm not because I don't want to share it. I'm just kind of thinking through this. So let's see. It is that beautiful state, I think, that leads it,
Yeah.
right? So instead of looking at what's wrong and not trusting myself, I think that times that I have sort of floundered
Yeah.
and felt the worst and got into the rut again and gone even backwards,
Mhm.
is when I started trusting everybody else has the answer, looking to the outside world, going, whatever, not trusting myself. And when I come at this from, who am I really?
Yeah.
Who am I really? And who am I really with God? Like, really getting honest about that. Who am I really? I'm not. And when I got into that place, instead of like, oh, I want to be the millionaire, and this guru says do these 5 things and you'll be a millionaire. He says it works this way, and trying all of his way, and
Yeah.
it wasn't working for me. Like, you said this before we got started, that your purpose is your own journey. How do
Yeah.
you find your own journey, right? And others people's journey may not be yours many times, and so we get hooked onto, they did it that way, so let me do what they're doing. And some of what they're doing can work, and other parts of it takes us away from trusting ourselves. So as I think about that, the answer to how it came from sort of the stuff and paying it off and being like, in the world
Yeah.
realm, there was this piece where I stayed in the beautiful state, and that beautiful state was calling me to a different view.
Mhm.
And from that view, it became, I just realized that all these mistakes, when I go backwards, when when things blow up, or I get burn out, or whatever it is, because I can get really much into doing
Yeah.
again. And when that goes wrong, I am not trusting myself. I'm trying to find the answer somewhere else. And the more that I can like look at, who am I really? Who do I want to be? And where am I, like, what am I doing here? It's people pleasing. It's looking to other people for all the answers, not trusting myself.
Yeah.
And when that comes into play for me, it's like the next level, right?
Mhm.
So I had to get able to love myself, I think. Like in that first journey is to love myself and look for sources of love, look where there is love, look for God for love, all of that stuff, and trust that God was loving, because I didn't trust that so much.
Yeah.
And then I had to that time I had to hang on to other people who had that. And then once I got to that place and I saw the good, the new people that were showing up, the new opportunities that were showing up, I was hanging out with different people. I was talking to myself differently, self-love wise, right? Then I started thinking, who am I? And I started seeing some things that weren't adding up for me, that were mistakes and going backwards. And I was like, what is sort of going on here? And a lot of it was not trusting myself, and not trusting that, that it's all for my good. This is a new one for me. It's all for my good. This is in the last year. It's all to my good. And anything that happens, really, sometimes I get reactive for a little while, and then after a while, I'm like, okay, God, it's all to my good. I know I'm on this journey. But being able to really take that next level of it's me. This is not him or her or the fault or brokenness of the world. It's what's inside of me. And once I got connected to, who am I and how am I trusting myself? Who am I in the relationship of this spiritual journey? What's my mission? I really spent a lot of time on this idea of what is my mission? And at first for the coaching world, it was like, what's my message? What's my marketing message? Even that strategy stuff. But then it got to, what is my mission? And if you would spend time with that, I'm talking to, everybody's listening, not you, because you do it. But if you spend time like just thinking, what is it that I lose time when I do, that I absolutely love, that I help people? It's like my magic, right? It's my mojo. What is it when that's going on? Because there's your mission. That's the mission you agreed to. And then once you get connected to that and you start to trust yourself, and like you said, it's not like the blueprints in front of you. The blueprint is every day acting from your highest level of excitement. What is really cool and exciting? For me, it's great to receive a $500,000 check. It is. It's great to have a corporate client that signs me up for, come help my whole company and all that stuff. It's great to go to Guatemala and like we're doing and helping people come out of poverty. But what is really great is when I'm with somebody and they are getting it at how abundant their life is, and that God is part of this story, and they're we're like some ways like shy to talk about it. Like we know it, but we don't want to talk about God. We don't want to talk about, and when they open up to, let's go there, let's talk spirituality, let's talk that, and let's talk about how that can be part of my business, how it really is. When I'm in that mode, it doesn't matter about the $500,000 check. It's like, that's a minute, but this is the juice, right? So it's that piece of trusting yourself, that piece of on purpose trying to find what is it that fills me up.
I want to add real quick, and then I want to give you an opportunity to let people know how they can get in touch with you.
Thank you.
It's the connection with your purpose and the abundance. And if your desire is to have abundance, wealth, for a purpose to serve other people, then I believe that's something God's going to bless. And it's interesting, her passion was working with animals, but she never saw that as a vocational opportunity for her. But once she did, she took that step, she stepped out of her fear and moved forward. Her passion and her purpose really manifested the creativity and the flow of the abundance that came, i.e. the 3 times her salary before. And that's how it works, because if you're doing something you love, they say you would do it for free. Not that you would, but you could, because everything is going to flow from that. And it's just amazing when you think about uniting your purpose with your calling and your vocation. Too many people have a job because it's comfortable, because they got to pay their bills, and then they do their passion on the weekends. Well, I'm one of those individuals that I am doing what I love, and I'm being blessed for it because of that. Amazing interview. You're just such an amazing person. I've learned so much more. Share with our audience how they can get in touch with you if they want to get some coaching or information on you.
That's so nice of you too. Sure. So you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, all the places. Paula Boland, and my last name is spelled BOHLAND. And you can find me on, Facebook, my feed, just my personal feed. You can find all kinds of stuff about me. You can send me an email and just give you my email address. I'm not, my professional email is Paula Boland. It's really easy. Coaching@gmail.com. And the name of my company is Paula B Coaching. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
How How would you like to go on a 5-star vacation for just $99? We're talking about the quality of a Westgate resort for $99. Not for one night, but for 3 fantastic nights at one of their luxurious destinations across the United States. And you'll even get a free $100 Visa gift card just for making a reservation. We've got some of the choicest destinations that you'll love in the United States that you can choose from for just $99 for a 3-night stay. Take your family, take a special loved one, but get away. Go on vacation with Westgate Resorts. Call now to make a reservation for just $99 and you get a free $100 Visa gift card. Call Westgate right now and book your vacation. Here's the number.
Call 877-930-3491. That's 877-930-3491. Again, 877-930-3491.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit card?